Hello everyone. In this particular section, let's talk about arrow functions in JavaScript. In the previous section, we already saw the normal functions in JavaScript, how do they work and how we can create normal functions. The arrow functions is just a little bit advanced part into that, and these are kind of similar to lambda expressions in Java. But don't worry if you have not worked with lambdas in Java, because we are going to cover arrow functions in this particular section in very detail. So in this very first video, let's talk about how we can write simple functions and convert them into arrow functions. Let's say we want to create a function to multiply two numbers. So we can begin with something like let multiply is equal to function. Now we can give it some name, or we can create an anonymous function. So over here, I'll just do the anonymous. So multiply two numbers, say num1 and num2. What I simply want to do is I want to return the multiplication. Now very simple. And when I do console.log multiply, say 25 and 30, when I run this particular file, we can get the result of this particular multiplication, which is 750. Okay, as simple as that. Now, how can we convert this simple function into arrow function? It's very easy. All we need to do is remove this function keyword and put an arrow over here. Just two things. Remove this function keyword and put an arrow over here. So all we need to do is, I'm not going to remove this function. Let's create another one. Let's say multiply 1. So to convert a normal function into arrow, first thing is we'll remove the function keyword, we don't need it. And the second thing is, in between the arguments and the curly bracket, we'll put a arrow symbol, that's it. And now this second function is nothing but an arrow function. How to call this function? Similarly, the way we call a normal function, in this case we can call the arrow function also similarly. So let's quickly rerun this particular program and we can see the output is the same. Okay, so one more thing over here. In this particular case, for the body of the function, we just have one line of code. So in such cases, when we have just one line of code in the function body, and this happens in a lot of cases, then we do not need the brackets as well. So what we can simply do is, whenever as part of the function body we have just one line of code, we can simply add it in the same line, make it very, very crisp, clear and short. So this particular is the arrow function equivalent of this function over here. Okay, another thing to notice is arrow functions are anonymous by default, so we do not have any name to them. Obviously we are assigning them to a variable, like in this case multiply 1, so we can call that variable and use that one to call the arrow functions, but the function itself is anonymous. Okay, very easy, converting a simple JavaScript function into an arrow function. Okay, in the next session we'll see how to create an arrow function when we have no arguments, or we just have one argument.